Okay, 1 second. Let me see the voice. Perfect. Great. So as you see, tonight's lesson will be about how to teach writing communicatively. And writing is one of the 4 skills. Writing is a productive, and students are going to produce the language more than receiving the language. So they are going to produce, they are going to write more than listen or read. Great. So let's see here. The first question that I would like you to answer is, what is writing? And as I said in the very beginning, writing is a productive skill. Writing is one of the 4 skills. So it's the right question. Now, today's session will be about an introduction of what is writing, what is not writing. Then we are going to talk about the sub-skills of writing, because whenever we would like to teach a language or to teach a lesson or a skill, what do we need? We need to master the sub-skills. Remember, reading. The sub-skills are skimming, scanning, reading for gist, for detail, summarizing, etc. And it's the same for listening. So skimming, scanning, listening for detail, listening for specific information, listening for gist, for the general idea. We have intonation. For speaking, we have intonation, stress, etc. Okay. Now, for writing, we are going also to see these sub-skills. And also one of the objectives of tonight's session is about the stages. What are the stages? We have the pre-writing, the while writing, and the post-writing. And of course, for each stage, like pre, we are going to dive in details. What activities we have to use. And it's the same for while writing and post-writing. And at the end, there are some recommendations for the best ways to teach writing. So these are the objectives of this lesson. Great. Now, writing as a definition is another main skill. So it's one of the 4 skills. Remember, reading, listening, speaking, writing. So it is one of the 4 skills, which are listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Writing and speaking are skills which deal with producing. So students produce more than receive or obtain. Therefore, they are called productive skills. So to be able to write something, we must be able to shape letters. So when we talk about writing, number 1, we start with shaping letters, how to write letters. And then from letters, A, B, C, D, we move to words, like a book, table, desk, chair, etc. And from words, we connect them together to create word sentences or mini sentences, which will give out the message we need to convey. So we must also have someone who we need to read the message. So remember, writing is not only about writing an article or an essay or a paragraph, but in the very beginning, especially with beginners, you have to teach them how to learn about letters, alphabets, then words. Then they have to connect words to form sentences. And after sentences, they have to connect sentences to form paragraphs. And after learning paragraphs, they have to connect the paragraphs to form essays and articles. Okay. Great. So here the keywords are productive skills. This is the keyword. Great. Now, question number 2. Why do the majority of learners find writing lessons challenging? Why they find it difficult? This is a question that I would like to give you 5 minutes. I'm going to put you in two groups, and your job to discuss about the reasons or the causes. Here we have Ikram, Zaidi, Isra, Zainab, and Zainab Halloumi. Group number 1. Group number 2, Fatima Zahra, Al-Knizi, Al-Bharzi, Umayma. Okay, great. So I really enjoyed again listening to each group talking about the problems. Some of you talked about students do not have enough vocab. Somebody said they don't master the grammar lessons well, like tenses, etc. That's very interesting. So let's see here why students find it hard. Let's see. Okay. So when we talk about the problems, number one, students don't know how to use punctuation. And you will see with your future students that they write a long sentence, but for them is a paragraph. And when you correct with learners, you will see that there is no full stop. They start writing from the very beginning till the end. So for you as a teacher, that's not a paragraph, that's a sentence. But for the learner, it's a paragraph. Then you teach them the punctuation is important. Some of them, they cannot write because they don't have enough bank of words, of vocab, or they don't know how to use tenses, while others are not interested in the topic. They don't like this topic, so they find it hard to write about it. Okay, great. Now, what about the types of writing? Here, when you are teaching learners, you don't just teach them to write a paragraph or an essay, but you teach them how to write a formal, informal letters, emails, reports, film review, book review, narrative or descriptive texts or essays, argumentative paragraph, application letters, etc. But of course, all these types depend on the level of learners. If you are teaching children, maybe you teach just a short paragraph, or about your favorite sport, or your favorite film, or your favorite food, or your favorite color, especially with children, or your favorite animal. Now, if you are teaching high levels, then you can teach them these types like formal, informal, argumentative, narrative, descriptive, etc. So again, here, variety is the spice of life. You have to vary your lessons. Now, this is a practice, and these are what we call them the writing subskills. Remember, writing subskills. For reading, we have skimming, scanning, reading for detail, reading for jest, etc. For writing, the subskills, number one, punctuation, paragraphing, planning, linking words, forming letters, using appropriate layout, proofreading. Okay, now, can we do number one all together? Number one, raise your hand into the air and use your fingers to write the words A, P, P, L, E, apple. What is this? What do you think? Can you write in the chat box or you can talk? Is it punctuating, paragraphing, planning, using the appropriate layout, linking, forming letters, proofreading? So Isra said forming letters. What about others? Yes, thank you, Isra. I agree. It's forming letters. Wonderful. So number one is forming letters. So forming letters is number one. Now, I would like to give you 5 minutes and you do number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 alone. 5 minutes and we discuss. Okay, so let's correct together. Any volunteer to read number 2 or to answer? Put a tick in the right place in this letter for the address of the person who will receive it and cross the correction of the date. What is this? Yes, Umayma? Activate your mic.
Yes, it's using the appropriate layout.
Thank you. So using the appropriate layout. Here layout stands for the organization, the format, the introduction, body, conclusion, what is first, what is next. Thank you. So let me write it here. So it is number 2. Great. Now number 3, this text, Zineb, you would like to say something? Yes, Zineb, activate your mic.
Yes, I want to answer the third
yes.
question.
So can you read? Yes.
This text does not have any commas, full stops, or exclamation points. Read the letters and add them in the right places. It's punctuated correctly.
Perfect. It's punctuating correctly. Great. Now, Halloumi, yes, please. Zineb, activate your mic.
Yes.
Yeah, you can answer the next one.
Yes, I already answered.
Okay, so Zineb, sorry.
Select the best conjunction from these because while after connect the sentences pairs using the conjunction that you selected. Linking.
Perfect. Linking words. Perfect. Wonderful. The next one, number 5, others.
Can you hear me?
Yes, please. Yes, Ilham.
Take a look at this list of suggestions for compositions. Put them in the proper order that you would write about them in your composition. I think planning, I'm not sure.
So here there is a confusion, planning and paragraphing. So let's repeat again. Take a look at this list of suggestions for compositions. Put them in the proper order that you would write about them in your composition. So I agree, it's planning. Number 5, you organize. Great. Number 6. Yes, Liknizi.
Once you have finished all your writing, go back and check if check it for language errors you may have made. Is a paragraphing.
Are you sure? Do you agree with your friend?
No, it's proofreading. Sorry.
Thank you. Yes, proofreading. So it's number 6. Great. So now, why writing is difficult for learners? It's difficult, number 1, they have to form letters. It's difficult, number 2, they have to know about the layout. Is a formal letter? Is informal? Is an email? Descriptive, narrative, argumentative, the layout. Number 3 is difficult because they have to use the right punctuation. It's difficult, they have to organize the ideas, planning. It's difficult because they have to plan and to proofreading, they have to find where are the mistakes and they have to correct them again. That's why reading is not just writing, but writing is not only about writing itself, but writing is about punctuation, is about planning, is about the linking words, is about forming letters, is about, using the appropriate layout. So all these are the sub-skills that we have to help learners to know about to write a good writing paragraph or essay. Clear so far?
Yes.
Great. So let's move on to the next one. Now, accuracy versus communication ideas. Remember speaking, fluency, and accuracy. We said fluency, Keep moving, keep going, just speak. Don't care about problems. It's about the fluency. It's about ideas and talk and the flow and the speed and accuracy. You pay attention. Everything must be correct. Grammar must be correct. Writing, spelling, etc. Okay. Now for writing is the same. We have accuracy and communication ideas. Can someone read about what do we mean by accuracy in writing? Any volunteer? Okay, Zinb. Yes.
Accuracy, spelling correctly, forming letters correctly, joining letters together correctly, punctuation correctly, using correct lights, choosing the right vocabulary, using grammar correctly, joining sentences correctly, using paragraphs.
Thank you. What about communication, Ilham?
Communicating ideas, using appropriate style and register, organizing ideas in a helpful way, joining words and sentences clearly, using appropriate functions, meaning such as narrating, requesting, complaining, etc.
Wonderful. Now, when you are teaching writing, are you going to focus on accuracy or on fluency, communication ideas, or both? Now, if you are going to focus on the accuracy, then you stress on that the spelling must be correct, the letters must be correct, punctuation must be correct, using correct layout, grammar must be correct, paragraphs must be correct. So this is accuracy. Or you may just focus on communication ideas. And here we are talking about using the appropriate style or register. Are you going to say hi or hello? Are you going to write I'm going to or I'm gonna? Okay. Or you are going to focus on the organization of ideas, how to organize from the introduction, from general to specific. This is the introduction. Then the body, reason number one, cause number two, cause number three, and the conclusion. You can give a summary or an opinion. So here we will see in writing, you can focus on both of them, or each lesson you focus on one. This writing lesson, I'm going to focus only on spelling, punctuation, and grammar. The second writing, I'm going to focus on the ideas, the organization of the ideas, etc. I'm going to explain more later. Now, the writing strategies. Number one, we start with generating ideas. Number two, making the purpose. What's the purpose? Is it to inform, to communicate, to argue, to describe? See, you write the first draft with the necessary components of a specific genre. Number four, you revise the first draft content. Here, when we say you revise, you organize your ideas and you see if the details are relevant or not, if the ideas are clear or not. And after revising, you have to edit with two students. They correct each other, okay. And then proofreading, and at the end, you have to present. So these are some of the strategies that we use to help learners to write better. I'm going to show you in details about the stages. And basically, there are three major stages. We have the pre-writing, the while writing, or the post-writing. Now, please, just forget about these strategies. We are going to go back to them in detail, okay? Can I move on to the next slide?
Yes.
Perfect. Now, the stages, we can have planning, drafting, editing, redrafting, and proofreading, or we can have here pre-writing, while writing, and post-writing. So we have different names, but they have got the same verb. Planning or pre-writing. Drafting, it means you start writing, is the while, or 3 editing, redrafting is after you finish, you correct, you revise, you correct mistakes, and then you write the last version. Okay. So for planning, number 1, you start with learners, not you start with writing, you write a paragraph. No. You start with ideas. What do you think about pollution? What do you think about immigration? What are the causes and the effects? What comes in your mind when you hear immigration? So they just think and think and think about ideas. And after they write, yes, please.
You mean that in the first stage, which is planning or pre-writing, like we activate student schemata about that topic or prior knowledge, exactly, isn't it?
Yes, perfect. Yes, it's just thinking about the topic and think and writing ideas. Okay. Now, when you write the ideas, you have to organize them, explain again. And after that, you start writing the first draft. And when you start writing and you finish writing, what do you have to do? You have to edit, you have to correct the mistakes. Let me explain more. Okay, just 1 second. So here, let me share with you this one. Okay, just 1 second. Do you see my screen? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect. So let's teach a topic. The topic is about, so topic is your favorite sport. And the level, right here, level is beginners. Okay, great. So here, number 1, we start with the pre-writing. So pre-writing. Good. In the pre-writing, there are 2 activities. Number 1 is brainstorming. And number 2 is planning. So brainstorming here means that students are just going to talk about their favorite sport. I give you an example here. You can ask students, what's your favorite sport? They say, my favorite sport, they are going to write like this. Teacher, my favorite, let me write in the black color. My favorite sport is tennis. Good. And then they continue. I play it every weekend. Then they write again. It is very nice. I play with friends. I feel tired. it is good for health. So as you see here, this is what? This is brainstorming. And brainstorming, do you hear me?
Yes, we do.
Great. And brainstorming, they are just going to write, teacher, my favorite sport is tennis. Teacher, I like it in my free time. Teacher, it's very nice. Teacher, twice a week. Teacher, I play with my friends. So, and you ask them, just write. Ask beginning. Any ideas comes in your mind, you write it. Great. Now, we are still in the pre-writing. And the second activity is planning or organizing. Great. So number one, it's pre-writing. So we have A, brainstorming. Now, they have to organize the ideas. What is number one? What is number two? And what is number three? And here they can say, teacher. So number one, we say, my favorite sport is tennis. Okay, here is a mistake. Tennis. Good. Number two, what do you think? I play it with my friends. They write I play it, or I practice with my friends. Number four, tennis twice a week. Number four, I feel tired. Great. Now they plan, they organize the ideas. Perfect. Now, once they finish with planning, now they remember, when we teach writing, we don't teach only the sentences, but we teach them what? We teach them the linking words. So you can help them. I want you to use these linking words. What are the linking words? You can give them first, second, third, finally. Finally. And other words like also, and, but, etc. So you give them some linking words to use them. And then when we are teaching writing, you can tell them, now I'm going to focus on punctuation. So please don't forget the full stop. Don't forget the colon. Don't forget capitalization, okay? Look here, you wrote my favorite sport is tennis. So what should we add? Teacher, the full stop, etc. Clear so far?
Yes, Professor.
Now, have students started the writing or not yet?
Not yet.
Thank you, not yet. This is the pre-writing. We are just brainstorming ideas and organizing the ideas and giving them some linking words and to pay attention to punctuation. Now, number two is while. Number two is while writing. Now you can tell students, you can inform your students, now I want you to work in pairs or in groups. I want you to write a paragraph about your favorite sport. Don't forget, use the linking words. Don't forget the punctuation, full stop, capitalization, etc. And here they can start with what? We call it A is the first draft. What does mean the first draft? The first draft, it means just write and don't care about mistakes. This is the first draft. So they are going to write, but they are not going to care about mistakes. Why? Because there is another stage for correcting mistakes. Okay. So here, students start writing. My favorite sport is tennis, etc. So let me give an example. It's an example. My favorite sport is tennis. I play it twice a week with my friends. I feel tired but happy. Good. This is the free writing. Don't care about mistakes. Now, so students finish writing, and then you move to stage number 3, which is post writing. And in the post writing, what they have to do? They have to, we have A, it's editing.
Edit.
Very good. Editing and proof reading. Now they have to correct. To correct what? Look here. So they can correct what?
Punctuation.
Very good. You tell them, okay, good. Now I want you to compare your paragraphs. Can you find if there is a punctuation mistake or if there is a writing mistake? And here they can write, my favorite sport is tennis. What's the problem here?
Full stop.
Very good. So here you can, there's a problem. I play, so full stop. I play it twice. So there is spelling with my friends. And I feel tired, but another problem. So they correct each other's mistakes. This is what we call peer correction. We call it peer correction. They correct each other.
Peer
Remember.
editing.
Yes. Perfect. Now, once they finish with editing and proofreading, so B is the final draft. The final draft means you present. You present or you submit your writing. Clear so far? Yes, please.
Yes.
Yes,
Great.
thank you.
Yeah, so now remember that it's a big mistake that novice teachers make is from the very beginning, they ask students to start writing. No, that's why it's very challenging. It's very difficult. Number one is the pre-writing. Students should think by ideas, and you, the teacher, should help them with some vocab ideas in mind. They have to organize them. This is the pre. And before starting the first draft, they need what? They need to know about what linking words to use. So here we have third, not thirds. It's a mistake here. Okay. And then the punctuation. After that, you can ask them to correct each other. Okay, in this session, I want you to focus only on two types of mistakes: punctuation and capitalization. They correct each other. Now, can you write again the final draft and submit it? This is how we teach writing. Okay. Clear so far?
Yes, it's clear.
Great. Shall I move to the next slide?
Yes, please.
Great. So remember here, we have pre-writing is the stage. And in the pre, what do we have? There is a brainstorming. What is brainstorming? Students think and think and think about ideas, okay? And they tell you about the ideas, to inform you. And number two is planning. Planning here means you organize. The paragraph number one is they organize. This sentence is the first cause, but that one is the second cause, etc. Now, when you organize, it's high time to write. And here we can start with the first draft. Why? Because there is the final draft. The final draft is the one that you submit. So we start with the first draft, and here that means just write. And do not care about mistakes. Why? Because there is another stage, which is editing and proofreading. They will correct. That's why we say that writing takes time. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Clear enough.
Perfect. So let's move on to the next slide. Let me stop sharing the. Great. So look here. There are two types of writing. You can write, we call it writing as a process or writing as a product. Now, look at this is a book, a lesson taken from the, I don't know, I guess, Ticket, yeah, first back, Ticket into English. This is the film review, and this is our society in the past. Now, what do you think? Which one is the process writing and which one is the product writing? And then we will see what do we mean by process and what do we mean by product writing. Let me give you 1 minute and think about the two pictures. So let's correct now.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. I think the first one is a product, I mean, film review is product, and the second one is process, which is about the past and the present.
And the film review is
The film review is product.
very good, very good. Thank you. So there are two types of writing. You're going to give them the product. So look here. This is the product. Look, the Eye of the Eagle, directed by Peter Flint from Denmark, is a great. So this is a product. From the very beginning, we gave them the film review. Now, what we have, what students should do is just imitate the title, the director, the country. We call it product because the teacher who gives the writing. For example, you are teaching how to write an email. Product writing from the very beginning, you give them a sample, an email about someone. You are teaching writing about a formal letter, and you are teaching writing as a product. So from the very beginning, you give them a formal letter about someone writing, okay, an application form or etc. But writing as a process, it's the learner who is going to give the product. Now the difference is this: product writing, the teacher gives you from the very beginning a sample. Process writing is the students who are going to write, to give you the paragraph or the essay, etc. Now let's see here. So process writing is a text as a resource for comparison, ideas as starting points. So it's based on ideas, more than one draft. You can write the first draft, the second, because it's a process, and it's more global and focused on the purpose. It's collaborative, which means that you can put learners in groups because it's the process. It's a bit hard. And the emphasis is on creative process. Prewriting, we have brainstorming, planning, then we have wire writing. We have the first draft, second draft, then we have the post writing, we have editing, proofreading, and the final draft. It's a process. Now, product writing is you imitate model text. I repeat it. So look here, I gave you this film review. What's your job? Is just to imitate. You are going to write the same. The writer, the director, the events, the main actors, the story, etc. So you imitate. Organization of ideas more important than ideas themselves. And here it's one draft, but here it's more than one draft. So look at the end, the emphasis on creative process, but for the product, the emphasis is on end product. Now, which one is the best? No one is the best. There is variety. One lesson, you use the process. Another lesson, you use the product writing. Clear so far?
Yes, sir.
Good. Now let's go back to the example that I gave you about my favorite sport. Now, to teach writing as a product from the very beginning, what would you give them?
A question about what their favorite sport.
Yeah. So as a product, from the very beginning, you give them a sample. Tom's favorite sport, Layla's favorite sport. So from the, you give them a paragraph about their favorite. This is product. Read the paragraph and answer the two questions. Laura's favorite sport is swimming. She swims every day in the evening or every day at 4 p.m. She swims with her parents. She likes swimming because it's healthy. So this is the paragraph. Now answer the two questions. What's Laura's favorite sport? Does she practice alone, etc.? This is the product because you gave them the model, and students are just going to imitate. Now, what is the process writing is the same that I did with you. Number one, what do you think? What's your favorite sport? Can you write as many words, as many sentences? Number two, can you organize these ideas, etc.? And then can you write the first draft? Then can you compare and contrast, correct each other? This is the process. Okay. Fatima Zara Duane said, so the product writing focuses on the end product. The students are not required to brainstorm and generate information. Yes, somehow, yeah. They can generate, yes, but in the very beginning we give them a sample first, a sample, a paragraph, a text to read. So whenever you see writing lessons starting with a sample, that is a product writing. Clear so far?
Yes, sir. Yes. Clear enough. Thank you.
Perfect. Now let's move on to the next one. Look here, writing subskills using a model, drafting, peer evaluation. Students correct each other, okay. Just 1 second. Students correct each other or redrafting, they write again, second draft. Now, you match the subskills with what the writer does. My main points. I reorganize what I have written to make my ideas clearer. I give work to someone else to ask for his or her opinion. So what do you think? Which one is using a model, drafting, peer evaluation, redrafting, etc.? So you match A, B, C, D with 1, 2, 3. Let me give you 2 minutes. Great. Shall we correct? So what do you think?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I start writing, developing my main points. This is drafting.
This is drafting.
Yeah.
So what do you think? So let's see. Zin Bled and Umayma. Yeah. Yes, let's start with Zin.
Second,
No, number one. Do you agree it's drafting?
yeah, drafting.
Thank you. So number two.
Can you hear me? I reorganize what I have written to make my ideas clearer. I think here redrafting.
You agree with her? So let's see with the Zin Bled or Umayma. Yeah. Do you agree with Ilham?
Yeah, I agree with her.
Okay. So I reorganize what I have written to make my ideas clearer. So redrafting. Now I give, yeah, next. Another one. Yes, sir. Okay. Ikram.
I give work to someone else to ask for his or her opinion. It's peer evaluation.
Very good. So peer evaluation means you correct each other. Okay. I give him or her my paragraph and she gives me my paragraph and we correct each other. Clear so far?
Yes, sir.
Great.
Professor,
Now,
can you hear me?
yes.
I didn't understand using a model.
Using a model. Perfect.
Yes, the meaning.
So using a model. Now, I'm teaching writing and the topic is about application form. Do you know application form?
No.
So application form is if you want to apply for a job.
Yeah. No.
So I want to teach
Yes,
this lesson to my students. So number one, I'm going to use a model. I'm going to use a sample. I'm going to give them an application form about someone. Okay. This is using a model.
It's like example.
Yeah, giving them an example.
Yes, okay, thank you.
So is this product or process?
It's a process.
No,
It's a product.
It's a product because you give them a
Yes.
sample.
You give them yes, a product. Yes,
Perfect.
thank you.
Yes. Now let's move on to the next one. Reflect on these teachers' comments. Which do you agree with and why? And here I would like to put you in groups again. I would like to give you 5 minutes and you discuss. But I want you first to take a picture of this slide. Then we put you in groups. Yes, please. Okay. So let me put you in groups. So we have Fatima Zahra. Just 1 second. let me put you in groups. 1 second. So, Isra, Ilham, and Zinab, group 1. Fatima Zahra, Ikram, Al-Knizi, Marwan, group number 2. So join your groups. 5 minutes.